and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1901B, and today's date is June 24th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Here Come the Booms, Great Awakening, Patriot Fight, Placeholders next. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about Q and those people that have been following Q. Ever since Q first appeared, we've learned the truth behind the deep state and its attempt to undermine America and all that it stands for. I mean, look closely at the new coin. The coin comes with an envelope and a card, and it's packaged in an envelope of We the People. Go to greatawakeningcoin.com, and for this month, you can get $5 discount if you buy 2 coins. Just use X22 Report in the discount box, and you'll get these 2 coins delivered to your doorstep. And as Q always says, where we go one, we go all. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are continuing their panic, and we're going to be talking about why they're panicking like the way they are, and they are using psychological projection through their panic. Let's take, for example, Kamala Harris. Senator Kamala Harris, she was giving a speech in South Carolina Democratic Party. She said, we need somebody on our stage when it comes time for that general election who knows how to recognize a rap sheet when they see it and prosecute the case. So let's read that rap sheet, shall we? Let's look at the rap sheet, where he told working people that he would help them, but instead passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations in this country. Well, that's not really a rap sheet. That's his policies. She said, let's look at his rap sheet in another part where he said he would give everyone health care, but he's still trying to rip health care away from the folks and turn back the clock on Obamacare. Well, that's not a rap sheet. That's a new policy. What she's really doing right now is she is using psychological projection. Define psychological projection. Well, psychological projection is a defense mechanism in which the human ego defends itself against unconscious impulses or qualities by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. For example, a person who is habitually rude may constantly accuse other people of being rude. So she's really shifting the blame. She has a rap sheet. Other individuals that she knows has a rap sheet, and she is using this and projecting this on Trump. It's what we're talking about here is she's panicking, and she's nervous and afraid. This is why the deep state is going after Kellyanne Conway, for instance. This is why this individual came out and blamed Trump for raping her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. Now, of course, Trump came out and said, I've never met this person. Can I see surveillance footage? Can I see video? Actually, Bergdorf Goodman said, yeah, we have no video of this whatsoever, even near the dressing room. I know there's no video cameras inside the dressing room, but even near there, him entering or exiting, nothing. And supposedly she saved the dress from that period of time. And they said, okay, if you have the dress, let us analyze it. And let's pick up some of the DNA that's on there and let's see if it's Trump's. She won't hand over the dress. Very interesting. Remember, she's pushing a book also. So that might explain a lot. Trump has already said she's using it for publicity to sell a book. Now, the Democrat-led House Oversight Committee, they're going to be voting on Wednesday to subpoena Kellyanne Conway for violating the Hatch Act, which we know this is absolutely ridiculous. It's going to go nowhere, but they're keeping it in the press for a reason. They have nothing else, and they're just grabbing at anything and just trying to throw it out there to keep the stories alive about Trump. But it will fall apart. Why? The Patriots are in complete and utter full control. Former prosecutor Representative Trey Gowdy, he joined Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures, and he said something very interesting. He said, here's one, Maria. Have you seen the desperate defensive briefings they gave candidate Clinton versus candidate Trump? Has anyone asked the FBI to explain why they took entirely different tracks to those two debriefings? There's a lot left to be seen by you and your viewers. So they were giving 2 different intelligence briefings to Clinton, one to Trump. They were completely different. That's very interesting right there. Remember, the Patriots have it all. Now, Devin Nunes, he is threatening criminal referrals for Chris Wray and Dana Boente. Now, Boente took over for former Chief Legal Counsel James Baker after the discoveries around Baker and McCabe could no longer be hidden. After being removed from responsibility, eventually Baker resigned and went to work with Lawfare Group. Boente's job at FBI was to bury information, block congressional inquiry, and protect the crew. Boente is still there. Nunes said someone at the FBI appears to have been determined to hide then Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Kathleen Kavalek's notes from both the FISA court and Congress. Our research identified that someone as Dana Boente and crew more than a year ago. Now, we need to go back a little bit in time to understand what Dana has done. On March 2nd, 2017, Dana was one of the small group who participated in a conversation that led to the recusal of Jeff Sessions from anything related to the 2016 election. This recusal included the ongoing FBI counterintelligence investigation known as Crossfire Hurricane, which was later picked up by Robert Mueller. So let's review why Jeff Sessions recused himself, and this is coming from the Gateway Pundit. The other attendees for the recusal decision-making meeting included Sessions Chief of Staff Jody Hunt, Criminal Chief in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Maryland, Jim Crowell, Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Department of Justice, National Security Division, Tash Guar, and Associate Deputy Attorney General Scott Schools. Note, Tash Guar was a lawyer for FBI Clinton case, and Scott Schools was part of a drafting Clinton exoneration letter. The main justice group influenced Jeff Sessions to recuse, with AG Sessions recused on March 2nd, 2017. FBI Director James Comey now reported to Acting Deputy Attorney AG Dana Boente. Technically, Dana is still EDVA U.S. Attorney and is only acting as Deputy Attorney General. Additionally, on March 31st, 2017, President Trump signs Executive Order 13787, making the U.S. EDVA Attorney the third in line for Department of Justice succession. Question: if Dana was appointed Acting Attorney General on January 31st, 2017, then why did Don McGahn need to draw up XO 13787 on March 31st, 2017? Especially after confirmed AG Sessions was already in place February 9th. The answer likely has to do with a sign-off needed for FISA. See the issue here? How does somebody unknown advise White House counsel Don McGahn to draw up an executive order so that Boente can sign a FISA without telling Don McGahn the reason why AG Sessions can't sign off on the FISA? See the problem here? In the period between March 2nd and April 25th, with AG Sessions recused and without a Deputy Attorney General confirmed, Dana is simultaneously a U.S. Attorney for EDVA, Acting Deputy Attorney General, Acting Attorney General for all issues related to Sessions' recusal. It is James Comey and Dana who signed the April 2017 FISA renewal for Carter Page. Now, this dynamic would later become important as notes Boente took from conversations with James Comey became evidence for Mueller's expanded obstruction investigation. So all of this, as we can see, the whole thing was a complete setup, and it doesn't even make sense on what happened here, on how this was formulated. And again, they're getting caught in the cover-up. Now, very interestingly, Flynn, as we know, hired a brand new attorney, former federal prosecutor Sidney Powell. Now, this move appears to signal a shift in posture. Well, he's no longer on the defensive. He's on the offensive. And Powell, a former Justice Department attorney who has written extensively about overzealous prosecutors, has claimed that Flynn was spied on as part of a setup by the FBI, and this entire case should be dismissed. So she went down the rabbit hole. She went directly to spying. Now, Powell, meanwhile, has made a cottage industry out of attacking Mueller and his team. She has a website called creepsonamission.com that sells t-shirts and books attacking former FBI and Justice Department officials involved in the Russia probe and Flynn's case specifically. And she's called Mueller prosecutor Andrew Weissman the poster boy for prosecutorial misconduct. Now, Flynn's other attorney tried something similar but not exactly the same. The other attorney tried the entrapment route and it failed. Entrapment is a practice whereby a law enforcement agent or agent of the state induces a person to commit a criminal offense that the person would have otherwise been unlikely or unwilling to commit. But remember, Flynn was spied on illegally. Yes, they trapped him in a lie, but that was going to go nowhere. Sidney Powell, I believe, is headed in the right direction. She's going to show that the information they received it illegally because they were listening in on a conversation that they didn't have authority to listen in on. They were spying on him. And it turns out that they never handed over the recordings to the other defense attorney. And Powell also said she's been given 3 hard drives from Flynn's former lawyers, and there's still more to come. She is really digging in on this, and we can see that Flynn, he's going to be going free, because once she puts this all together and shows that he was spied on illegally, with no warrants, with nothing, it's game over. And that, I think, is what she's going to prove here. And then it's going to lead into other things. Now, Bill Barr, he is beginning the raids on certain individuals, and he's pushing the investigation into overdrive. Ryan Fournier tweeted out the following: Bill Barr makes his move. FBI raids home of prominent Dem politician Jack Evans in Washington, D.C. This is from The Hill. FBI agents raided the home of D.C. Councilman Jack Evans a day after a confidential memo made public alleged that Evans knowingly violated ethic rules to benefit his friends and clients instead of serving the interests of Washington's transit agency. It's already begun. Remember, Barr is investigating everything, and the swamp is not just a few key players. The swamp is deep and it's wide, and everything is going to fall into this net. And we can see that this is why the deep state is panicking. This is why they're using psychological projection, because most of them are going to get caught up in this, and they know it. Now, down at the border, we know this weekend Trump was out there saying the raids, the deportations were going to begin, and it was going to be something like 10 U.S. cities. And all of a sudden, everything came to a screeching halt. And Trump was in the process during this weekend explaining why this was happening. He tweeted out the following: the people that ICE will apprehend have already been ordered to be deported. This means that they have run from the law and run from the courts. These are people that are supposed to go back to their home country. They broke the law by coming into the country and now by staying. Then all of a sudden, he tweeted out the next tweet. At the request of Democrats, I have delayed the illegal immigration removal process for 2 weeks to see if the Democrats and Republicans can get together and work out a solution to the asylum and loophole problems at the southern border. If not, deportations start. Now, this is very interesting. Yes, he delayed it. Yes, he's saying the Democrats, he did this at the request of the Democrats, and he wants the Republicans and Democrats to get together. Actually, he shifted the blame onto the Democrats, saying fix the problem down at the border. Now, he knows most likely they won't. But we also understand and we realize that Kevin McAleenan, it looks like he was trying to sabotage the entire operation. He was leaking out information about what was going to happen. Now, think about this for a second. And ICE advised the White House not to go forward with the raids, in part because those who were the targets might have fled the locations the enforcement and removal operation officers had expected to find them. And also, by leaking this information, it put the officers in harm's way. So he was trying to stop this, and he leaked information. And like we said, there are still individuals that are in positions that should not be in certain positions, and this might be one of them. Now, like we said, Trump is continuing to shift the entire narrative onto the Dems. He has done this from the beginning when he had Pelosi and Schumer in his office to discuss the border and the wall, and he continued with his tweets. I want to give the Democrats every last chance to quickly negotiate simple changes to asylum and loopholes. This will fix the southern border. Together with the help that Mexico is now giving us, probably won't happen, but worth a try. 2 weeks and big deportations begin. Again, he's continually telling everyone if the Dems can't work with the Republicans and fix this, they're to blame. And while all this is happening, Trump tweeted out a video of the wall being built. And once this wall is completed, or a lot of it is completed, guess what? Drugs, human trafficking, the illegal immigration coming to this country, it's going to come to a complete halt. It's going to trickle down to nothing. And the wall is being built. The clock is ticking down for the Dems, for the deep state. Now, very interestingly, a Mexican newspaper took a survey on migrants traveling through their country. And what did they find? Well, the Mexican newspaper has found that 61.5% of Mexicans want their government to stop allowing migrants from other nations travel through their country to get to the United States. The number from the El Universal's June survey was a significant increase from 49% who wanted to stop the flow of migrants in October of 2018. The newspaper also reported that the majority of Mexican citizens, 53.7%, do not support granting work visas to Central American migrants, a move that has been pushed by the Mexican president. Another 44.4% want illegal immigrants to be immediately deported. So right there, Mexico is saying, we don't want this. The people I'm talking about, not the government employees. I'm talking about the people. They're trying to tell the governments this is what we want. Guess what? The governments aren't listening, but the world is waking up and governments are starting to listen. Sometimes it takes a little force like tariffs to get the government doing what you want them to do, just like Mexico. And Trump is trying to push all these nations to do what the people actually want done, just like here in the United States. We know that the deep state, they don't want to listen to the people. They don't care what the people say. They want to do their agenda. And we've seen all of this around the world. And this is why there are many, many countries going the opposite way of what the elite want, because the population is waking up. Now, Devin Nunes, he is bringing a lawsuit, a $250 million lawsuit against Twitter for censoring conservatives. And the date now is for the end of August. That's the court date. Very interestingly, Project Veritas, they have revealed another insider from a very big tech company, Google. And in Google employee and head of responsible innovation, Jen Janai, said, we all got screwed over in 2016. Again, it wasn't just us. It was the people got screwed over. The news media got screwed over. Like everybody got screwed over. So we're rapidly been like, what happened there and how do we prevent it from happening again? She also said we're training our algorithms so 2016 doesn't happen again. Well, doesn't this mean that you're kind of interfering in the U.S. elections? Shouldn't this just be an open system? It shouldn't be controlled to force one side or the other. It should be right down the middle. And it doesn't seem like that's what they're doing. Now, very interestingly, Trump signed an executive order outlining new sanctions on Iranian interests and entities that will be determined by the U.S. Treasury Department. The sanctions target the Supreme Leader of Iran and the Office of the Supreme Leader of Iran. Now, this is very interesting. Why is Trump doing this? He is doing this for optics. which we'll explain in just a moment. But before that, he tweeted out the following: I never called the strike against Iran back, as people are incorrectly reporting. I just stopped it from going forward at this time. So he never called anything back. There were no planes or anything like that. He didn't call the military back. It was moving forward, and he just stopped it. There's a difference there. The planes and the ships, they weren't all surrounding Iran ready to attack and just said, okay, let's come back. They were never even out there ready to attack. Now, something else was tweeted out from AFP news agency. Iran executes defense minister contractor over spying for CIA. Now, that's very interesting, because what we're watching right now, we are watching peace and a new deal play out with Iran. The dismantling of the deep state is almost complete. The question is, why the sanctions? This is being used as optics. Optics are very important. This will allow Iran to call Trump. And we're already getting information that Iran is hinting that it could be willing to discuss new concessions with Washington if the United States were to lift sanctions and offer new incentives. And I do believe, behind closed doors, in the back room, the deals are already being made. And while those deals were being made, the Patriots were dismantling the black sites, removing the deep state, and now, just like with North Korea, we're watching the entire show play out. Once this is completed, once Trump and the Patriots have a new deal with Iran, we're going to see what happened with North Korea. We're going to see the same exact thing. We're going to see North Korea, Iran work with the United States to make these countries great economically, along with the United States. And you can see how this plan is moving forward. And once this is all done, and the deal is done with China, guess what? We're moving to the next phase. Because it's almost time to fill those placeholders. Soon, the booms are coming, and there's going to be many. All their ammunition has almost been spent. The countries that were a problem, well, they're no longer a problem. And soon, Venezuela will not be a problem. Cuba will not be a problem. But I do believe that Iran and North Korea, those were the major black site sticking points that had to be addressed right from the very beginning. And what we're seeing right now is the entire Middle East, the Afghanistan war, the war in Syria, all of this is going to be coming to an end. We're very, very close to a peace deal with Afghanistan. The remaining couple hundred soldiers in Syria, they're going to be coming home. The soldiers in Iraq, Libya, Lebanon, not going to be needed anymore. Why? Because the petrodollar system is going away. There's no need to protect the Middle East. That deal is out the window. And we're going to see a lot of changes start to come. We're headed towards the phase of placeholders. These are the arrests. These are the people that are going to go on trial. That's where we are. We had the Great Awakening. We had the Patriots fight. And now we're at the placeholders. And that is coming very soon. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.